Computer. Hello, everyone. My name is Aaron Brown. Let's talk. Today's episode, we have Sylvester. Man, he is a coach. He's a three-time author. He's a combat veteran and just an amazing human being. But again, I don't like chopping up people's bios, so I'm gonna go ahead and let Sylvester take it away. Sylvester, tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit of your background.
Well, first off, I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak on your platform. And just to introduce myself real quick, I'm Sylvester Jenkins, combat veteran, author, coach, motivational speaker. Served 21 years in the military, just recently retired. When it comes down to inspiring, influence, and impacting people, that's the name of the game that I do. When it comes down to my books, I chose to be an author just to try and enlighten people worldwide, not just on the perspective of just speaking to them or just by just having verbal communication. I wanted to be able to spread my message all across the globe. So pretty much in a nutshell, I retired from the military, started writing books. Next thing you know, people started looking for information. How can I do this? How can I do that? And it just led from one thing to the next. And then just being in the military, it made me be able to motivate people just by being in a leadership position. So pretty much in a nutshell, that's me.
Awesome. So first and foremost, thank you for your service. 21 years in the Army is a feat that not many succeed in. So thank you for giving up and sacrificing 21 years of your life to serve this country.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. What skills did you learn in the military that you brought into your civilian life?
I think the number one skill that I brought with me into the civilian life was being able to be a leader. Leadership is needed everywhere. I think everything rises and falls on leadership. I think when it comes down to being a teacher, a coach, a parent, a pastor, whatever it might be, there are leaders in place for a reason in order to guide and direct the flow of traffic when it comes down to everybody in society. Also, the biggest thing of leaders, or the number one responsibility of leaders, is to turn followers into leaders. So when it comes down to that aspect, I think that was one of the key things I took away from the military in general. Then also just being resilient. Resilient was a big thing just due to the fact that you're in total different environments on a daily basis, to be honest with you. You're away from home a lot, so you're in different types of stressors. You're dealing with different types of stressors, other people. So you got to learn emotional intelligence. You got to learn patience. You got to have all those skills in order to be able to work with other people and just adapt to your environment when it comes down to the hardships that you might endure.
Awesome. Wow. So that's amazing that you were able to take those skills, that I know in the military, leadership is that's one of the foundations.
Right, absolutely.
Leadership, and to be able to take that and bring that and share that with people on the outside, civilians who may need a little nudge to go in the right direction. And correct me if I'm wrong, that also helps you in your coaching, correct?
Absolutely.
Awesome. So let's talk a little bit about your coaching. How'd you start that and get that? What inspired you, should I say?
So what inspired me was the fact that it was something that I was doing in the military already. I was doing it in the military for all the junior soldiers that was up under my leadership. Anytime they had a problem, anytime they had an issue, anytime they hit a roadblock, whenever they needed some advice, whenever they needed to be pointed in the right direction, they always come to me. And when they ask me questions, I give them the best advice needed. And just so happened, I transferred it over into, the civilian world. It was something that was brought up to my attention through my wife. She was like, "You've been a therapist, you've been a coach." She was like, she just started naming all kinds of things. You've been like a surrogate parent to, a lot of these soldiers throughout your career. She was like, why not try to do it on the outside as well? So I was like, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what pointed or led me to that direction. I wanted to continue to just inspiring and influence people, not only, you know, in a totally different environment outside of the military.
Gotcha, gotcha. And how has that been thus far for you?
So I mean, like it's all brand new. It's still like in the works and everything else. Like I said, I just retired from the military in August. So you think, you know, dealing with the pandemic and everything else is
Yes,
up and coming. So just staying persistent and consistent is the main thing about it. So
absolutely.
so that's the main thing. So I mean, like as long as I continue to learn, grow, and then also reach out to people and dealing with the information that I'm trying to provide, hey, everything can be smooth.
Awesome, awesome. What strategies do you use yourself that you would give to someone else to maneuver in life right now with the pandemic?
Oh man, so I have an acronym that I use. You know, something that we had in the military was MAX. Like whenever we took a PT test, you know, there was a certain percentage or the highest you can go.
Hmm.
So we used to say, I'm gonna max out on the PT test. I'm gonna go as high as I can go. I'm gonna score to, you know, say to the limits. So it's an acronym that I use just in life in general, called MAX out. So MAX stands for mindset, attitude, and execute. So your
Awesome.
mindset is something that, you know, deals with, you have to train just like a muscle. It's not something
Uh-huh.
that's going to have overnight. It's something that it's going to take steady training in order to do. So your mindset versus your eyesight is something, you know, when you see it, it kind of throws you off. But then if you have the mindset to be optimistic about the situation that you could possibly endure, your perception can totally change to point you in the right direction of succeeding as far as whatever you're pursuing, which bleeds over into your attitude. And when I'm
Gotcha.
talking about your attitude, I'm thinking more of, yeah, I'm thinking more of a like when it comes down to the lion as the king of the jungle. Now the elephant is twice the lion's size, but when a lion sees an elephant, he thinks lunch. He's thinking lunch. You know, so his pride, you know, his confidence, his attitude, his self-esteem is high. So his attitude is what causes him to have that be able to continue to move forward. And then that leads over into execution. Once you have your mindset and your attitude on point, you can run through a brick wall. You're gonna execute. You have no choice but to move forward. It's gonna happen because you once you have your mindset and your attitude on point, you go from average to savage. You go from ordinary to extraordinary. So, like I tell everybody, I said, if you're willing to upgrade your phone, why aren't you willing to upgrade yourself?
Whew.
Max out, change your mindset, change your attitude, and execute.
I feel like I was just witnessing one of your videos, but live. That was awesome. That was awesome. I watch your videos all the time, and it's
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
yeah. I just got pumped up real quick. I'm about to do some push-ups. Um, that's
Okay.
awesome. That's awesome. So mindset is big right now. It seems to be
Absolutely.
the move. How how is your mindset, and how is it different from other people? What
So,
makes you extraordinary?
just a little bit about my background. I'm from Columbus, Georgia, also known as Kilumbus, Kill. Grew up in a single parent home, drug infested, gang neighborhood. The inspiring drug dealer at one point in time, also was a occasional thief. When it came
Okay.
down to my background as far as education goes, I failed the fourth grade, the sixth grade, the eighth grade, the 10th grade, and the 12th grade. So I had pretty much deemed myself a failure. In my mind, I was a failure. So my mindset had already shifted to like, I can't do nothing else. I
Okay.
had been told that I wasn't college material, which led me to join the military because it's mostly physical, not mental.
Yeah.
So in the process of going through basic training, I'm like, I can do push-ups, I can do sit-ups. I'm a physical guy. That's too easy. Whatever you tell me to do, I'm gonna execute. I'm gonna do it because you're in charge. I'm a follower, not a leader. That was my mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So going through the motions of experiencing that, and as time moved on, I had learned through my training in the military. Once they put people up under me, my mindset started to change because
Okay.
now I realized that I was responsible for somebody outside of myself. Next thing you
Okay.
know, when it came down to deployments, Iraq, Afghanistan, we're going into combat. Now I got to make sure these people come back. It's a tough situation when you have a service member, mother, father, wife, or kid come up to you and tell you, please bring this person back, back to me the same way they left.
Yeah.
And for you to sit there and try to guarantee that, it's a strong possibility that that's a promise that you can't keep.
Yeah.
It's a strong possibility. It's a promise you can't keep. But to sit there and be able to tell them that in your mind, now you are a priority.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes down to everything that I was dealing with at that time, in that time span, my mind was thinking like, I really need to focus on becoming the best leader I can for these individuals. And when I thought about other people outside of myself, which I consider servant leadership, it wasn't about me anymore. It was
Ooh,
about them.
servant leadership. Yes.
Yeah, it was about them. So anything that I can do in order to help them grow, keep them safe, and then continue to like nourish them in order to be better than where I'm at, I was willing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, but in the process of doing that, I was gaining knowledge myself. So which bled over into self-leadership. If you're not straight, you can't be straight for nobody else.
Mm-hmm.
You can't help nobody else if you're not straight. So you have to influence yourself when it comes down to it. Remember, I told you at the beginning, I had already deemed myself a failure. In my
Mm-hmm.
mind, I had already failed. I'm no good. I can't be a leader. How you gonna put me in this position? I can't do it. So as time moved on, I started to drink the Kool-Aid and realize my position, realize what I had been given, taking the knowledge that had been bestowed upon me and use it in everything that I had did. Because I believe, this is my belief, that leaders are made and not born. I believe that people are born to be leaders, but overall, to be a great leader, I think it's something that is nurtured throughout the time span of their life.
I agree with that. I agree with that. Absolutely. Leadership is something, yeah, you can't be born a leader. That's something you, first off, I also I believe that a leader must be humble. And the most humbling thing that I can think of is trauma, right?
Right.
So
Oh,
so
yes.
so using that trauma and not allowing it to influence us in a negative way. And
Right.
that takes discipline, that takes patience with yourself, that takes
Absolutely.
self accountability. Like, okay,
Yes.
that happened to me, but how am I going to react to it going forward? Am I going to allow it
Absolutely.
to define me, or am I going to use it to be a better person?
Yes. Yes. So
Yeah,
that's my book, A Quick Cure to Successful Leadership. It speaks about everything that you just spoke
that's awesome. I'm gonna have to buy.
of.
I'm getting all three of your books, honestly. But that's crazy because I had no idea.
Yeah, it speaks about all that dedication, determination, and discipline. They speak about accountability. It speaks about responsibility. It speaks about ownership. It speaks about servant leadership. It speaks about self-leadership, motivation. It speaks about teamwork, uh, goal setting. It speaks about all those things in order to help you become a great leader. It's basically a manual for the entry level and mid-level leader.
That's awesome. That's awesome, and that's a quick cure to successful leaders.
Leadership, yes, correct.
Leadership. Gotcha. Leadership. I'm sorry. Yeah, successful leadership. Okay. Okay. Gems. Gems,
Yeah.
all good nuggets here, all good nuggets. So you use your the mindset that you created in the military
Right.
to overcome your imposter syndrome that you're a failure and
Yes.
not supposed to be here.
Yes. 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 Hey, that imposter syndrome is, hey,
It's
it's
real.
it's real. It's absolutely real. Yeah, I mean, you'll talk yourself straight off a ledge because your mind says you can't, when in actuality you can. So when times get rough, that extraordinary person will keep going and say I can, but that ordinary person will sit there and say they can't. They're fine with being mediocre, just like where you are right now. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start in order to be great.
Absolutely.
So I mean, like, it just in a nutshell, just dealing with that. If your mind tells you you can't do it, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to do it. I mean, that's just totally over in a nutshell. But I feel like I'm King Kong. I'm
I ain't
King
got
Kong.
nothing on me.
Yeah, I ain't got nothing on me. Ain't got nothing on me.
Awesome. Gotcha. All right. So since we're already on your books, let's talk about your first book, The Compass.
Okay. So the compass is what I'm working on now. It'll be released in 2021. So
Gotcha.
that book,
Okay.
speaks about it's just like you know how you got north, south, east, and west, right? You got 4 directions you can go. I feel that leaders you know, direct change when it comes down to the people that are up under them. So in this book, it speaks about having a growth mindset, team building, communication, and then also when it comes down to just having a broader aspect when it comes to being in a leadership position in general. So those 4 angles will point you in the direction that you need to go in order to affect change in your organization, wherever you might work.
That is so needed right now.
Right,
That
absolutely. I
and is probably needed now more than ever, because of a shift that I'm seeing when it comes from generation to generation.
absolutely. Yes,
Awesome,
yes.
awesome. I'm excited for that. I'm excited for that. Okay.
Thank you.
And resilience.
Right,
Winning the battle within. Talk about that a
right.
little bit. I truly believe that we're all resilient
Yes.
human beings, and sometimes we just need to figure out what tools in our tool
Yep.
belt that we need to use to turn that resilience up to get us through
Right.
tough and difficult times. So go
Yep.
ahead and tell us a little bit about resilience in your book.
Well, I promise you, you're hitting the nail on the head when you were speaking about it just then. So I feel like everybody is resilient. That's why I call it the secret ingredient, because
Mm-hmm.
everybody has it. It's just that everybody don't know about it. That's why it's called the secret ingredient. But it's a battle that we fight within as far as being resilient in order to bounce back from adversity quickly. So a lot of times, I gave this analogy not too long ago with the potato, the egg, and the coffee bean.
Okay.
So the
Interesting.
potato,
Let's go.
yeah.
Okay.
So let's say boiling water is adversity,
Okay.
right? So if you stick a potato, which is hard initially, you stick it in that adversity, which is water, boiling water, what happens to it?
It's gonna get soft.
It gets soft. So which means it crumbles whenever it faces adversity, which means now I'm going into a shell. Now I don't want to be, I'm afraid to do certain things.
Okay.
Initially you was hard. Like you can face anything. Now that you faced that adversity, you done got weak.
Okay.
You'd have fell back down. You'd have crumbled. And then when you have that boiled egg that you stick in boiled water, what happens to it? It hardens up on the inside. So on the outside, it still looks the same. But that heart, your heart hardens up. Now you've been in a relationship that didn't go as planned. You had lost a loved one. You experienced something that
Mm-hmm.
put a wall around your heart that prevented you from showing your emotions. Now you numbed up, but you still look the same on the outside. But that coffee bean, as soon as you stick it in water, what happens to it? It goes from boiling water to coffee. It changed its environment. It changed its surroundings.
Okay.
It
Okay,
made
okay.
everything adapt. It made everything adapt to it. You know, when it came down to it, it got a great aroma, great smell, and it's great to drink. It changed that adversity and it brought it down to its level and it adapted to its environment. It kept going, and guess what? It's great. It's successful. It's still moving forward. So that's the potato, egg, and the coffee bean. That's resilience in a nutshell.
Oh man, that was good. That was real good. I don't know exactly what I was expecting, but that was it. That was it. Your analogy and the way you're able to put it into real life situations and like food. I love food. I
Yeah,
like to
me too.
eat. I like to eat. So as soon as you said the egg, I love hard boiled eggs. Potato, you
Right.
can put a potato in anything and I'll eat it. And coffee, I love coffee. Without my coffee in the morning,
Yeah,
I'm a different beast. So
right,
so you're able to make that relatable
right,
to so many people on so many different levels.
right.
That's brilliant. That's talent right there.
Yeah, so
That's
be a coffee bean.
that's greatness. Greatness. Be a coffee bean and make that adversity adapt to you.
Right,
Like,
absolutely.
mm, so good, so good, so good. Uh, gosh, what? Let's go. Let's switch gears. Let's jump back into the military really quick,
Okay,
because I have a question.
okay.
What message do you have for veterans who are transitioning out of the military into the civilian life who may be struggling with that? Because I know being in the military is very structured, um,
Right, absolutely.
and you have somebody that let you know what you need to do, when it needs to get done and stuff like that. So
Right,
shifting into civilian life, they like you on your own. Like good luck.
right.
So what message, what information, what nugget would you share with a veteran who's struggling with that transition?
So I would tell them absolutely just, hey, take your time. Time to decompress, time to step back and just analyze everything that's going on around you. There's no rush. During the time frame in the military, it's always hurry up and go. But when it comes down to you, take the time to actually literally make that transition before you jump into anything else to really uh, just get yourself together. Uh, your time was well served. You did everything that you could possibly do. Your services are greatly appreciated, but now it's time to shift focus to something that you neglected. I mean, I wouldn't say neglected, but you wasn't able to give time to during your
Mm-hmm.
time frame in the military, which is either your family, yourself, uh, just taking the time to actually enjoy life, something that is dictated to you on occasion whenever you're in the military. It's not like you can just up and leave. You really have to go through a process before you can just enjoy that opportunity to decompress. Now you in transition, take that moment, take that opportunity to really enjoy life, and until you're ready to go into the next level or the next career, whatever it might be for yourself.
That's awesome. Great advice. Great advice. Um, what did you do to decompress and on your transition?
So during my transition, so pretty much what I did, I shift focus during the time frame I was in the military. I experienced some hardships right before I had lost my mother, and then just
Sorry to hear
I was,
that.
oh, thank you, no problem. When it came down to losing her, and then also I was on a deployment. So
Oh,
2019, I was on a deployment when I lost. But what happened was I was also going through family hardship too. Kids, wife, all those things start to just um, go all over the place.
mm-hmm.
I had like strong anxiety, was going through like depression. Didn't have no way to really let go because I was in a key leadership position. So I couldn't just go out there in front of my soldier and just crack or break. I had to be, I had to be that egg. I had to numb up to everything that I was dealing with and going through, and really still show face when it came down to just being in that leadership position. But what I did to decompress was I started going to behavioral health. I started really seeking, like counseling when it came down to everything that I was dealing with. And just like a soda, when you shake it up, right? So you already know off the top, if you just screw that top off, it's going to explode all over the place. But if you slowly unscrew that top, what's going to happen? It's going to seep out slowly but surely, but it won't be no big explosion. So what I did was seek counseling in order to screw off that bottle cap slowly but surely until the point where I let everything out. Once I let everything out, I just started being open with myself when it came down to what I was dealing with, my experiences, shed a couple of tears, was starting to be more vocal when it came down to my feelings. I stopped being in that shell. I stopped being in that shell, and I let everything come free. And once I let everything come free and just let it fly out, that's when the change started to happen with my mindset, and I started to become more or gradually to the point where I felt good. I felt great.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I just want to acknowledge you real quick for your emotion that what you just said. You shared some of your emotions, dropped a couple tears and stuff like that. I just want to commend you for that, because that is vulnerability is something that's so hard for us, for humans in general.
Right.
And you're a Black man.
Right.
So in the military,
Right.
add layers. You had a failure mindset that you weren't good enough. You worked your way through that. Like when you finally were able to feel those emotions and you felt comfortable to be vulnerable, that must have been so very freeing.
It was very free. It was told to me that even Superman had to be Clark Kent sometimes. So I mean, you can't save the world. You can't be out here going from here to there. Sometimes you have to really just be yourself.
Yeah.
And really accept that you're not always strong, and that it's not always going to be there. But you have to find a way to do it. What I want to say, you have to find a way to do it where you're not hurting other people.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes we can express our emotions and it'll hurt the ones we love the most. So if we find a suitable way to be able to express ourselves, then they can have a better understanding, and you can both be on the same sheet of music when it comes down to being there for one another and making sure that y'all continue to grow in the right direction.
Absolutely. There's a quote, I don't know who said it, but I've seen it multiple times, that said, learn how to heal your past wounds, or you'll end up bleeding on the people that love you, that didn't hurt you.
Yeah. And that's exactly that's what happened. That's what happened with me. I started bleeding up. I started seeing, because it's just like the thermometer and the thermostat. Like I control the temperature, and when it came down to me being in the rut that I was in, it was a dark cloud over my household for a long period of time.
Yeah.
And as soon as I start to, go seek behavioral health and all those things, and really, analyze everything that I was doing and start putting my feelings on paper and everything else, that's when the shift happened. And now it's like, even when, we feel like it might be raining, cold, or whatever it might be, the weather is always good in our house.
That's awesome. Awesome. Again, and an advocate for therapy.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I was one that fought therapy for a really, really, really long time. I didn't need it. I was good. If I can't handle it myself, then it just is what it is. It down. I don't want to show emotion. I don't want to be vulnerable. And I had no idea how much damage that I was doing to myself.
Right.
and
right.
the negative impact
Absolutely.
that it has on the people around you. You know, you don't ever
Yes,
want
absolutely.
to turn into a monster to the people around you that love you, and they only want the best for you.
That's it.
So that's awesome. If we wanted to support you in any way, shape, form, how could we do that? Where can we find you on social media and any of those outlets?
So well, you can find me. I have you can find me on Instagram at the self-made leader.
Mm-hmm.
And then also my website is the letter R, the number 2, the letter T, and rise RISE 2TO, the THE top TOP.org. That's my website. You can either book a call or schedule an interview or get me for anything that you need. If you want me to come in and influence and inspire your people, I can. It also has my books on there. So if you want to reach out and grab you a copy of my books where you don't feel like you're comfortable enough to interact, you can easily grab the books and get a feel for what it's like communicating or point you in the right direction the way you want to be.
Awesome, awesome. Do you have anything else that you want to share with us? Anything else you want to add? Any information, gems, anything at all?
Absolutely. So when it comes down to you in life in general, so just keep in mind anything is possible. Don't
Mm.
let nobody hinder you from whatever you're striving to be. If they're not certified, they can't talk about what you're trying to do and what you're striving to be. So I always tell people the price of discipline is less than the pain of regret. You don't
Mhm.
want nobody coming around, or you don't want to wake up one morning talking about what you wish you did. Go out there and do it now. You have a purpose that you need to provide for everybody around you. And you only have that purpose. You have a specific purpose. Each of us have a specific purpose. You able to fulfill that purpose, but you need to find that purpose. Know your why and execute and fulfill your requirement that God gave you.
That's awesome. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Um, I want to take this moment really quick to acknowledge you, Sylvester, for first off, I appreciate your service. 21 years, like I said in the beginning, that's a feat that some don't ever get to do or fulfill. So um, I know that came with a lot of sacrifice.
Absolutely, yes.
So so I want to acknowledge you for that. I want to acknowledge you for rising above your circumstances, um, growing up in a crazy neighborhood, single parent home. You know, telling yourself that you're a failure and then you'll never be anything, and
Right.
having the courage and the audacity really to join the military and look at the man that you've become. So I want to
Right.
acknowledge you right now for just going above and beyond your own expectations and fulfilling your duties here on this earth.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate that, man. Like on everything, man. I greatly appreciate that. Like I told you earlier when we initially started talking, man, like I'm striving to get on your level, man. You where I want to be. So I don't want you to sit here and think just that I'm unappreciative when it comes down to everything you speaking life into me right now. So I hope I can do the same return when it comes down to everything that you have going on and just keep on supporting you when it comes down to what you're striving to do.
That's what we got to do for each other. That support is real,
Absolutely.
and I appreciate it so deeply, so deeply.
Absolutely.
Final question.
Okay.
All right. What does what does investor need to live a happy life?
What I need to live a happy life is my family. I feel like family is one of the biggest things that, a lot of people um, that I can't. I'm just speaking for myself in general that I can't do without. Whenever my kids they come see me, or whenever I'm with my spouse, or just any other family members in general, my brothers, sisters, whoever it might be, I enjoy family just due to, and I feel like that's a strong need in life, whether it's good or bad. To be honest with you, because either way it goes, you gonna learn some way somehow from each other.
Yes.
So I think family is one of the things that is needed, you know what I'm saying, to live a happy and fulfilling life
That's
outside of
awesome.
resiliency.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so Sylvester, thank you so much for coming in and sharing a little bit of you with my tribe. I know for a fact that the information you provided, the gems you provided and you shared will resonate with someone. And that's exactly why I do this. That's the only reason I do this is
Right,
to get people from all over the world to share a little bit of themselves to help other people
right.
jump over the obstacles and that they may be facing in their lives.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I
Hey,
appreciate you.
it's great. It's a great message, man. Keep on doing, man. Like I wish you all much continued success in everything that you're doing right now. You know what I'm
Thank
saying?
you.
Hopefully one day I'll probably see you on TV and you'll be hosting your own show, bringing people in. Hey, just remember the small people when it happens.
Nah, you're not small. You're not small by any feat of the imagination. All the stuff that you just shared, you did
Right.
you're not small. You big time. You big time. All
I appreciate that.
right, all right, all
Definitely.
right.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's go ahead and listen. Did y'all feel the energy that Sylvester was bringing to you? Out of this world. Again, thank you, Sylvester, for your service. 21 years of sacrifice that I know had to be hard. I appreciate it. I know we all do appreciate that deeply. Guys, continue to strive to be who you want to be, not who society is trying to make you out to be. You can be whatever you want as long as you believe that you can and you max out, as Sylvester would say. You lock into that mindset. That mindset controls your attitude. That attitude taps into your execution. Be the best you can be. And also understand that that best won't be the same every single day. And that's okay. It's good to be vulnerable, to be open about your feelings. It doesn't make you weak. Actually, I believe vulnerability is the strongest emotion, feeling, however you define it, and it's the strongest because that means you are putting your cards out on the table, completely exposed for the world to judge you or for anyone to judge you. That takes strength, that takes courage. Do that, be that. I hope you guys got the message because there were so many of them in this episode, so many messages, so many gems that I know they will resonate with you. As always, you are uniquely created. We will definitely talk soon.